we are entering into the last chapter, that is consumer protection. So there are so many, like there are customers are there, and we are all consumers, and sometimes some companies are doing some kind of activities which is against the interest of the customers. So there are some kind of but since we are all customers, we should know about what are our rights and what are the government provisions that is provided. So what we are supposed to work for our rights. So normally what happens is that see, like if we are purchasing a product, and if it is of that low quality product is there, what we do is that we may not purchase the product on the next time, that's all. But once if we have the laws that we have faced, so we are not going to file case against that, or any action is not going to take. So companies know about this one, and that is why they are making use of this things. So we should know about the what are our rights and what are the rules and regulations regarding the consumer protection in our country. All these things we should have an idea about it. So to protect the customers against the unfair practices of the producers and sellers is called consumer protection. Today consumer is called the king of the market. He is at the central stage of the market activities. It is the constant endeavor of the producers that the production of the product must conform to the needs of the consumers. So nowadays, like earlier it was there, the concept of market was that whatever they produce and they force the customers to purchase it. So that was the system. But now it is not like that, because see, like there are so many competitors are there, so many different of brands are there, so many options are there, and customers know what they need. And so it is the duty of the companies to understand the needs of the customers and makes the product according to the requirement of the customers and satisfy their needs. Okay, otherwise if they are not able to satisfy the needs of the customers, then such kind of companies cannot survive in the market. So see, like there are some kind of in order to every competitions are increasing, and the companies are trying to increase the level of their sales and increase the profit amount. So they are doing a lot amount of activities for increasing their sales, like improving in the quality of the product, or reduction in the price, clear and decent advertising, and after sales service. By doing all these type of activities, they try to capture the market. Most of the companies, they do like produce very good quality product and distribute to the customers, and or if they reduce the price, they produce the products in a very bulk quantity and reduce the amount of price. Cost of production can be reduced when we produce in bulk quantity. So such a way we will be able to produce the product in a low price. So different options are provided to the customers. And but see, like on the other hand, some of the methods adopted to increase the sales of are such to subserve the interest of the producers, but the same are against the interest of the consumers. In other words, consumers are exploited by these methods. Like there are like adulteration of consumer goods. Adulteration, you know what is the meaning of adulteration? Adulteration of goods means that like adding some other materials into the some products. Okay, see, like if you are purchasing rice, in that they are using like a plastic rice is there, so they are adding that, or some stones are added, small stones are there, that they are adding. Or see, like if you are purchasing like a chili powder, in that they are adding bricks powder. Okay, so that is there. Okay, so some companies are adding, and it looks like this one, and the weight of this product can be increased. Okay, so there are some kind of such kind of products are there. So when either they are adding some other unwanted materials, or they are adding some low quality material. Like when you are purchasing like some oil, in oil they are adding wax. The wax, they are melting it and adding it. So sometimes you will see like some oil and all is there, and in that also like a low quality oil. Like if you are purchasing like refined oil, if you purchase, but in that they will add a low quality oil. So like such type of activities are conducted. So there are, say, like oil prices, different type of prices are there. So say like one oil is costing 120 rupees, but there will be oil of 60 rupees also. So 1 liter of this one is added. Or when you purchase like a milk, if you are purchasing, in water they are adding. So like 40 rupees milk if you purchase, in that only 20 rupees milk will be there, 20 rupees water will be there. So such a way these type of adding of these type of things, but adding milk, water into the milk is not a big problem, but it is not going to create much health issues, only the amount will be reduced. But some places are there where they are producing milk without even milk, they are making milk, without any this one, see like some Fevicol and some other type of ingredients are mixed up and they produce milk. Okay, so these type of things are there. So if you drink these type of things, then it can create so much amount of health issues. So these are called the adulteration of goods. Then poor quality of goods and services. See, like if the company is offering a quality, but that quality is not provided. Like if you are, imagine that if you are watching a movie, so you are paying 250 rupees for a ticket and you expect that a very nice seat should be there and other type of facilities are required. But when you go there inside, you will find that the quality is not there, the sound quality may not be there, or these type of things are there. Or like if you are traveling in a bus, so if you are paying like from here to Lucknow, if you want to go, some 300, 400, 500 rupees you have to pay. But if you don't get a proper seat and proper facilities are not there, then it is like exploiting. So such kind of things are there. The quality which we are expected to get is not received. Then sometimes like a misleading advertisement, sometimes the advertisement which are shown, so some they are showing advertisement in a very different, very attractive way and makes us to purchase the product, but when you purchase the product you come to know that these qualities which are shown in the advertisement is not available in the real product. So such type of misleading advertisements are there. Then short measure and underweight of goods, like if you are imagine purchasing a product for 100 gram, but 100 gram may not be there, 90 gram or 80 gram only will be there. So 95 gram will be there. But we are not like 100 gram packet of product after purchasing, we are not going and checking the weight. Once if you check the weight, then you will come to know that there may be some products are having less weight is there. Okay, and even if like some 5 grams or 10 grams shortage is there, we are not going to file a case against that. But imagine, see, like if a 100 gram product in that 10 gram is less, but when they make 10 packets of this one, they can make another packet. So such that much amount of profit they are getting. But for us it is like maybe like 5 rupees loss or 10 rupees loss maximum will be there. And we are not going to file a case against that or any kind of activity we are not going to do. But for the company they are making huge profit out of that. Then a creation of artificial scarcity by hoarding goods. So sometimes it's like imagine that if like onion, okay, so onion price now again increasing around, it is reaching around 100 rupees now, 180 rupees, 100 rupees like that. So if in such a situation is there, or if a company is having, or if a supplier is having huge amount of onion or any type of product is there, they will, what they do is that they won't sell the product, they will hide the product and they will create an artificial scarcity. So if their product is not supplied, then people will be demanding, will be there, that much supply is not there, so normally the price will go high. And when the price increases, then he will sell it for a higher price. So this kind of activity is conducted. So this is called the hoarding of goods. So there is like these are some of the activities that the people are doing for cheating the customers. Some examples of consumer exploitations in India are there. Like a manufacturer of sunflower oil claims in the advertisement published in a national newspaper that his oil is rich in vitamins, minerals and proteins. On testing, all claims were found false. So sometimes you say that they give advertisement that in our, like see some people they say that Horlicks, if you consider, like people those who are drinking Horlicks, they grow 2 times faster it seems. If you are 2 times faster means you will become big human being. It is not possible or it is not there. So a growth of the children will be same only. But they are saying that 2 times faster or 2 times your brain is going to increase. All these type of things they say. But those things are tested. When tested, then these type of things may not be there. So this is there. Then many cloth manufacturers mark their product as poly cotton. Here poly means polynoxic and polyester, not polyester. The former material is very cheap and as compared to the later, and the consumers are not aware of it. See, like a polynoxic is a kind of material, very low quality material is there. But when you see like poly cotton means we consider that polyester and cotton mix. But instead of using polyester, they use even low quality like a polynoxic kind of things are there. So these are some kind of chemical things. Or like instant noodles can only be sold in the packets of 100 grams, but the case of some manufacturers, there are 80 grams noodles only in the packet. Means 100-gram packet is there, but only 80 gram is there. So this type of some example. A woman got admitted in a civil hospital for an appendix operation, but the doctor treated her negligently and removed her gallbladder instead of the appendix, and as a result the woman died. So some kind of treatments, like if you are such type of incidents many times it take place, some are saying that your operation for this one problem is there, and that problem is not treated and operation is done for another thing, or some are like, if you are going recently I saw this one in the WhatsApp that one person went for like plucking the tooth, toothache was there, and the last tooth was having problem, but beside other one which was good teeth was removed, and which is painful one was not removed. So such a way, if complaints are there, or such type of treatments and all are there. Hospital, when you are going, if you are going into the hospitals, even for my leg it was there. It's like when I was there in the hospital, I went to the hospital and they had conducted the X-ray. When they tested the X-ray, first time when I went to the hospital, they did not do X-ray. They said that you can do exercise and increase, but there was a fracture. So if fracture is there, by doing exercise it will create more problem. Okay, so they did not do X-ray, and they looking into this one, they did not find any problem there. So they told us to do exercise, and I was thinking that there are no problems, so I was doing exercise, and it started to swell. So swelling increased. So then when I went to the another doctor, then he conducted tested with that X-ray was taken. Then in that he found that there was scratch was there, that small piece of bone was broken. So there is a fracture is there. So then he put that plaster and all was done, and after that it was not supposed to be moved. But since that is because of that, there was problem with my ligament. The ligament was broken. If I had not, in the first hospital itself, if they had detected that there is a fracture, and if they had told us to take rest, then there was no problem for the ligament. Problem would not have been there. So still, that is why I am still having problem with my legs. So this is for, and I have done the operation, and all the things are there, but still, even now there are some, like a few days before I was playing there, and suddenly it just a slight shake was there. So in that again the problem began. So every year I am getting some kind of one or the other way, I am getting problem like So such these type of things are there. So people will be affected like that. So there are some examples like that. The next topic is about the importance of consumer protection, and this topic is deleted. This topic is not there in your syllabus. The main thing, the next topic that we have to study is about the legal protection to the consumers. There are so many acts are made in order to protect the interest of the consumers. So let us see what are the, you need not to study in detail about these things. Only the first act we have to study in detail. Other acts are there. You just have to understand what this is there and for what this rule is made. The Consumer Protection Act 1986. The Consumer Protection Act has been in the force since 1986 for the consumers' protection and prosperity. The law offers protection against defective goods, defective services, unfair trade practices, and consumer exploitation. So there are so many type of things that we have to study about this one. So we will study about this act in detail. After that we have to study. Now next we have to study is about the Contract Act 1982. The Act lays down the responsibilities of the contracting parties. This Act also explains the conditions under which the aggrieved party can move against the defaulting party. So see, like if a contract is made, so between two parties, then if any breakage of contract is there or any such kind of things are there, so these things will come under this Act, Contract Act 1982. Then next one is Sale of Goods Act 1930. This act provides protection to the buyers in case the goods purchased are not according to the conditions of the sale. So see, like if we are purchasing a product and if the company is offering a product like sample was shown or any other things was shown, but they had given offer that you will be supplying this type of quality of the product, but that quality is not there, or any of these type of problems are there, then this can be against this act. We can file case against in this act. The next one, Essential Commodities Act 1955. Following are some of the chief aims of this act. Control over the production, supply and distribution of essential commodities. Like there are some essential commodities are there, like food, medicine, all these type of things which are very much essential for the people. So this act is made for the protection of the essential commodities. And control over the tendency to increase the prices. See, like these kind of products are having huge demand, and that is why there may be a tendency that the price of this product may go high. So, but this act controls the prices. The control over the unsocial activities like profiteering, hoarding, and black marketing. So, if like food products and all are preserved, hoarding and all is conducted, then the price of the product may go high. So, these are controlling against these activities. The next one, Agricultural Produce Act 1937. Under this act, there is a provision to check the quality of agricultural product. The products are placed in separate categories according to the standards. In this view, the producers are marked according to the standards, and that makes it easy to recognize them. Under this act, there is a different mark to indicate the quality of the product. This mark is known as AG mark, Agricultural Marketing, AG mark. So there is a mark on the product, like agricultural products are there. So this as per this act, the product can be divided into different grades, like first quality, second quality, third quality, like that. If you like a tea powder and all, there are like a green label, red label, like that, different labels and all are there. So the product is categorized into different categories, and the price is also determined. So like the best quality product will be having higher price, and the low quality price will have only the less price. So under this act, these activities have been taken. Then the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954. Under this act, there is a provision to protect the consumer's interest against the adulteration of food articles. So if any wrong materials are added to the product, or if such kind of any adulteration activities are found, then this act will be taken into consideration. The Standard of Weights and Measure Act 1976. Under this act, there is a provision to protect the consumer's interest against less weighing and measuring. So you might have seen that some, like in our shops and all, they come these people from this Standard of Weights and measures. There are inspectors and all are there. So they come and that wooden iron pieces are there that they are using for measuring. Under that there is a hole is there. Have you seen that? That weighing machine, this one is there. Inside that there is a hole. So these people, they come and they put they will weight the measure exactly, and if it is less, means like you are putting there and scrubbing like that, there is a chance that some few grams of this may be reducing. So what they do is that in that hole they deposit some kind of metals they are dropping, and they make the exact, like 1 kilogram means exactly 1 kilogram they make. So once in a while the government is conducting type of a test like that. So in our side and all, I don't know whether they are taking it. So as per the rule, every shopkeepers at least once in a year they have to get it tested and check the weight of the equipments that they are using, weighing machine and all. Now there are digital machines and all, so there are no much issues like that. Even in digital machine also they can do some kind of cheatings and all, but that they will be testing. Then the Trademark Act 1999, this act has replaced the Trademark Merchandise Marks Act 1958. This act provides protection to the consumers for wrong use of trademark. So a trademark, if any product, if we are having like whenever we purchase a product, we have studied about trademark. So brand values are there, brand mark is there, and when it is registered under Trademark Act, this will become a trademark. Okay, so this trademark, once if a trademark is selected by a company, any other company cannot produce any product in that trademark, or copying of this is a crime. If anybody is found doing copying of these activities or products like that, then the company can file case against that company. Then Competition Act 2002, the act has replaced the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1969. This act provides protection to the consumers against the activities hindering competition by businessmen in the market. So it is controlling. This act is mainly made for controlling the competition. See, like if competition is okay, but when it goes against the interest of the consumers, then they will take action against that. Then next one, the last one is the Bureau of Indian Standard Act 1986. Under this act, the Bureau of Indian Standards has been established, and it has two major functions. It decides the quality standard of various products. A company that fulfills these standards is allotted ISI mark under the BIS scheme. Bureau of Indian Standard. So Bureau of Indian Standard is giving a standard for a different product. ISI mark is there, you know. So that ISI mark is given, and mostly like if you take some steel product or like electronic products and all, you can find that ISI mark is there. ISI 9002, 9001, 2001, like that. There are numbers are there. So these products has been categorized, and quality standard has been established. So you can see, like when you are purchasing this helmet and all, they say that you should purchase only ISI marked helmet. If it is not ISI marked one, then even if that accident take place, then there may not be any protection for them. So it may first the helmet itself will break. Then after that there is no protection for our head. So these are all things we have to take care. Then these are the different acts there. So we can study the first act, Consumer Protection Act 1986. We can study about this act in detail. Consumer Protection Act 1986 has been presented as an important act in the history of India. It provides protection to the consumers. It was passed by the Parliament in 1986 and came into force with effect July 1st, 1987. Okay, so these dates you have to remember. This act is an important one. It was made in the year 1986 and came into force in the year 1987. This act extends to the whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So instead of other than Jammu and Kashmir, every other place in India, this act is applicable. It was amended in 1993 and 2003. So the amendment means the changes in the act. So there are some changes taking place in the year 1993 and 2003. It covers all goods and services. The act provides for the protection of consumer protection councils both at the center and in the state. The council has official and non-official members. The object of these council is to protect the interest of the consumers. There are mentions of some rights consumers in act. So there are some rights of this as per this act. There are some rights we have to study in detail in the few coming pages in this chapter itself. We will study about that. Then next we have to study is about the salient features of Consumer Protection Act or scope of the Consumer Protection Act 1986. What are the scope of this act? The first one is coverage of items. This act is applicable to all the products and services until or unless any product or service is especially debarred out of the scope of this act. So it is applicable for all the products, goods and services. If any products have been debarred by the government, if any product is given any exception by the government, other than that, all the product it is applicable. Then coverage of sectors. It will cover the private, public as well as corporate sector. All the sectors it will be covering. There is no any speciality for private sector or public sector. It will come on, it can cover all the sections of that. Then next, compensatory nature of provisions. Many acts have been passed for the help of consumers. Consumers enjoy the benefit of this act, but if a consumer wishes, the Consumer Protection Act can provide extra help. As a result, the nature of a Provisions Act is compensating for the loss of providing extra help. So, if any other act, even if it is coming under some other act, but if the customer feels that I have to add this act also, means I have to get benefit out of this act also, then it can be added. Then next, group of consumers' rights. This act provides many rights to the consumers. These rights are related to the safety, information, choice, representation, redressal, education, etc. So these rights we have to study about it. We have to study in detail about that. Effective safeguards. This act provides safety to the consumers regarding defective goods, defective products, dissatisfactory services and unfair trade practices. So under the preview of this act, there is a provision to ban all those activities which can cause a risk to the consumer. If any kind of product or like if trade practice is there, if any chemical is added to the product and if it is creating problem for the consumer, then this act has the power to ban the product. So they can stop the production of the product or even ban the product. Then there is a three-tier grievance redressal machinery. A consumer court has been established so that the consumers can enjoy the rights. So there are three-level this redressal agencies are there. So at the district level there is a district forum, at state level there is a state commission, and at the national level there is a national commission. This also we have to study in detail in the coming part of this one. Time-bound redressal. A main feature of this act is that under this act, the cases are deducted in a limited time of period. So the fixed time is given. There is like a limited period is there. So there is like a action against this particular action should be taken within the period time, like a 3 months time, 6 months time, or 1 month time. Like that time period is there. So that if a case is filed from that date onwards, within the prescribed time, 90 days time is there, then within that the action has to be taken. Okay, so there is a time bound. See, like if you are complaining, if you are filing a case in a court, so there is no any guarantee that it will take place in this year itself. It will take say like 1 year or 2 years, even 20 years, 30 years it will take place. Isn't it? So you file a case against a person, and by the time they will make an action, the person may die. So that much long time it is taking if you are filing a case in the court. But here, for this case, there is a time limit is given, like 3 months time, 6 months time, 1 year time, like that. For different cases, there are special time is there. And Consumer Protection Council, to favor the consumer protection against and encourage consumer awareness, there is a provision in this act to establish a Consumer Protection Council. So there is a Consumer Protection Council is made, and there are some members in this council, and they will be giving education to the people or making the people aware about the necessaries of this consumer protection, and if any kind of products are not useful, then we can find out what is the reason, or we can give information to the people if any people are affected. Sometimes, mostly, even if people are affected, they don't like to come out of this information. They don't share this information because they are already cheated and they don't want to reveal their it is like a humiliation for them. So they don't want to reveal these things. So that is why they try to hide these things. Okay. So these are the different features or scope of the Consumer Protection Act. Next, we have to study is about the main provisions of the Consumer Protection Act. There are some provisions, some areas of activities are there. First, in that we have to study what is the meaning of a consumer. Who is a consumer? The first question is that we can understand who is a consumer. A consumer is a person who buys any good for a consideration which has been paid or promised, or partly paid and partly promised, or under any scheme or deferred payment. It includes any user of such goods when such use is made with the approval of the buyer, but does not include a person who obtained good for resale or for any commercial purpose. So if a person who has purchased a product and paid the money, either full money is paid or half money at least, or we have like a credit purchase is made. So if a person is called as a consumer. But a person who has purchased a product for a resale purpose is not considered as a consumer. Like if a wholesale shopkeeper is there, he purchased 100 product from a company, so then he is not a consumer. Or even a retail shopkeeper purchased 100 product from a wholesale shop for the purpose of reselling, so that person is not considered as a customer. So customer means the person who has purchased a product for the purpose of using it. Okay, so he paid the money, or he offered a payment, like he is not paying, but a credit payment may be made, or half paid now and half will pay afterwards. Whatever may be the payment method used, there is no problem, but he purchased his product for using it. Any person who hires or avail any service for a consideration which has been paid or promised. So, or other than that, if a person either he has purchased a product or he has taken a service, any type of service he has taken, and the money of that or the payment for that service is either paid or promised. Means he said that he will give the payment. Okay, so these two people are considered as the consumer. Then grounds for complaint. When we can make a complaint? Okay, so what are the formalities or what are the restrictions for a complaint? First one, unfair restrictive trade practice. When a consumer is victimed by unfair or restrictive behavior of any businessman, then he can lodge a complaint. If any unfair trade practice is found, or if any person is treated by the businessman in a ill-treated or any type of behavior is found, such situations we can file a case. So the first one, unfair trade practice. Unfair trade practice means to adopt a faulty way to gain excess profit by the trader. For example, to provide wrong information about the goods and services, to launch gift schemes despite either the cost of the gift is added in the original product, cost of the product, or quality is compromised. See, like if a gift is offered, like when you purchase this product, there is a gift is there. But sometimes what the shopkeeper is doing is that the price of the gift is also added with the product. So that is not a that is an unfair trade practice. Unfair trade practice. Then there are restrictive trade practices are there. Restrictive trade practice means the selling of goods and services on some conditions to consumers by the traders. For example, a car seller sells car on the condition that along with the purchase of the car, one has to buy an insurance policy also. So like if the company is making, if a car manufacturing company is making it compulsory that when you purchase this car, the insurance policy you have to take compulsory. They can give offer. Okay, that is not a problem. But if they make it as a compulsory that whoever purchases this car has to take an insurance policy from the company itself. Like Maruti car is telling that Maruti insurance has to be taken. So there is, it is not a, it is a restrictive trade practice. Okay. Okay, the remaining things we'll study in the next.